Brazil is one of the biggest countries in the world, and although a lot of the country is swallowed up by the vast Amazon rainforest, there is plenty left for farming. It is home to some of the largest, most profitable farms in the world and has a long history in farming dated back before the Portuguese. Today, we are looking at some of the largest farms in Brazil, so stay right where you are. First up is Sementes Girassol. Based in the Mato Grosso region of central western Brazil, the Sementes Girassol operation is owned and run by Gilbert Goldner. Bordering Bolivia, the region gets a ton of rain, as it is technically in the rainforest region of the country, so there is plenty of water, which is obviously essential for farming. The farm focuses mainly on soybeans, which is used for seed and commodity purposes, and the family's land is roughly around 100,000 acres, which in layman's terms translates as absolutely huge. The farm is bigger than some decent-sized cities on Earth, and Gilbert doesn't just grow soybean, he also uses his land to produce cotton, cottonseed, beef, eucalyptus, and corn. The farm is so big that there is no way Gilbert and his family can farm it all themselves, so they rent out some of their land for other farmers to use. Brazil is now right up there with the largest soybean-producing nations in the world, including the US, and it is farms like Sementes Girassol which allow the nation to produce so much. Gilbert and other operations like his export a lot of their soybean to China. Last year, Brazil, which is the largest country in South America, exported a record 86.1 million metric tons of soybean, with around 70% going to China, which is a pretty crazy amount. Do you guys like soybean? Let us know below. Next, we'll talk about Sementes Adriana. Stick around to find out more. With more than half a century of experience in farming, this monster farm is owned by Odilio Balbinati and his family. Again, they primarily focus on the production of soybean, but as well as this crop, they are known to produce crotalaria seeds and millet. Crotalaria has been used for centuries by the pre-Columbian people, and its uses include food, drink, paper elaboration, and medicinal plant and honey production, among other things. Balbinati is a prominent businessman and politician in Brazil and has held the position of federal deputy of Parana since the mid-90s. He caused outrage in 2007 when he was accused of forging documents to obtain a loan from the state bank. Naughty boy. Just like the Sementes Girassol farm, this one is also huge. The Balbinati family have around 59,000 acres dedicated to the sole production of soybean, 50,000 acres for millet for seed production, and an additional 37,000 for soybeans, which will then go to market. The problem with farms of this size is the incredible waste they see. Conservative estimates suggest that 40% of the Adriana farm seed is discarded due to problems with pests, disease, and adverse weather. This is obviously a huge amount of waste. Being one of the biggest farms in the country, and by default the world, they don't just focus on seed production, but also research and testing of their product. There are on-site labs for quality testing, and these labs are also used to provide the latest in the field of genetics to the companies who buy from them. Another Mato Grosso farm now is the Grupo Bom Jesus farm, and the winner for the best named farm in Brazil goes to Nelson Jose Vigolo and his brother Geraldo, the owners of Grupo Bom Jesus, whose family have been in the farming business for over 40 years. Just like the Balbinati clan a few miles away, farming is life for these guys. Can you guess what they produce? Yeah, you guessed it, soybean of course. Not only do they produce soybeans like our other friends on today's list, but the Vigolos are also known to farm corn and cotton. Nelson and Geraldo's land dedicates a whopping 321,000 acres to the production of soybean, so the likelihood is if you ever bought soybean or products derived from it, it's possibly come from here. Of course, there's no way they can farm all of this land themselves, so like a lot of other big farms across the region, they rent out some of the land, which adds to their already huge income. In addition to the land set aside for soybeans, the brothers have also dedicated 128,000 acres for the cultivation of cotton and another 79,000 acres to focus on corn. Also included on the farm is a seed treatment facility, so the brothers know they are getting the best of the best. The Vigolos are savvy businessmen too, and also own farmland in two other eastern Brazilian states, Bahia and Piauí. Did you know farming in Brazil was such a huge deal? What do you think about these mega farms? News of a loophole in Brazilian farm law now. Stay tuned. As we have learned today, soya farming in Brazil is big business. But what about the impact it has on the earth? Brazil's Amazon region, commonly referred to as the lungs of the earth, is disappearing at an alarming rate, and it is down to farms like these which use loopholes in Brazilian law to fell vast areas of forest to use for the production of crops. 2006 was a huge year for the protection of the Amazon, as it saw the introduction of the Amazon Soy Moratorium, which banned the sales of soya grown on land deforested after 2008. This had a knock-on effect effect as deforestation fell by 84% in the area between 2004 and 2012. But it's steadily increasing again. Last year, it saw the highest figures in 15 years. But why? Some people blame current presidential incumbent Jair Bolsonaro, who seemingly doesn't care about conservation in the region. And farmers have been able to get around the moratorium by still clearing land, but using it to grow things other than soya, as the moratorium only applies to that one crop. In the 10 years from 2009 to 2019, farmers in the Mato Grosso region cleared an area roughly the same size as Greater Manchester in England to focus on commodities other than soya. I mean, what a mess. How could they have let a loophole like this sneak into the moratorium? Why not just say that anything grown on land cleared after 2008 would be ineligible for sale? We're talking about the price of soybeans next. Stick around. Much like Bitcoin or any other financial commodity, soybean prices regularly fluctuate and the market is pretty volatile. Right now, the price of soybean in South America is increasing due to new buyers from the American market, and in the past few weeks, the product has gained by $2.70, which is an incredible jump. Forecasters believe we could see the crop hit as much as $16.70 or even $17, which would be crazy. Forecasts of hot and dry weather mean people in the market are becoming nervous, with the U.S. having sold around 3.3 million metric tons in the past week or two. Brazil is currently planting their second crop of corn, but forecasters are not too sure how that will pan out across the region. The price of soybean is also having a knock-on effect to the price of wheat, too. Not only this, but geopolitics, the current situation in Ukraine, is also having an effect on the price of crops across the world, so it will be interesting to see what happens there. Hopefully, everything will settle down and we'll be back to normal soon. News of potentially slow harvest in Brazil now. Stay tuned to find out more. It has been predicted that this year's harvest of soybeans might not be as big as in recent years, and this is partly down to the weather across southern Brazil and Argentina. It is set to get better in the coming days and weeks as the dry weather is forecast to move in after a few showers last week, meaning Brazil will be able to harvest soybean and safrinha, but that will not be the case in the northern regions, which don't particularly need the rain. Wet weather in these regions will only serve to slow the harvest. Down in southern Brazil and Argentina, drier conditions are generally favored for soybean harvest, but the region is experiencing dry to drought-like conditions, which can obviously cause crops to fail if they don't get any water, and this weather is set to continue in the coming weeks. The past couple of weeks have seen the driest conditions in Argentina in more than 30 years, which has had farmers across the northern part of the country collectively praying for rain. What do you guys know about farming in the region? And would you ever consider trying your hand at farming? It's not as easy as it sounds, we can tell you that, but do you think you have what it takes? Let us know your thoughts below. As always, thanks for stopping by, and remember to swing by next time for some more fun and games. Also, why not share our video with any farmers you know of or friends who might be interested in what we've talked about today? You'd be doing us a big favor. Bye, guys.